The results are in from WBDC's 32nd annual Texaco Country Showdown. A complaint leads to the arrest of a Jasper man on child molestation charges, and Kurt Guxell previews Jasper baseball semi-state games ahead in sports. Those stories and much more are up next here on 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. In your news, last night, 101 Country WBDC hosted their 32nd annual Texaco Country Showdown. The has-beens of Huntingburg took home the first place trophy and will move on to the state Texaco Country Showdown at the Indiana State Fair later this year. Has-been member Terry Kendall talks about how he and his friend David Wayne got started in their country music careers.
I started playing one time. I never did know that I didn't know how to play or sing. My dad was a minister, and so I grew up singing and stuff. And then Wayne and I met. He was at the same block, and he played drums, and him and I met and started playing and singing together and writing.
Both Kendall and Wayne say winning the showdown is an honor that has eluded them for some time. They also said that both of their recent efforts in ministry, as both of them hold minister's licenses, helped them as well.
This we've been after a long time, and it's eluded us for quite a while.
But you know, we started. We both hold a minister's license now, so we try to lead a lot of people to the Lord, and so we're thankful to be able to do a gospel song, and amen. So we're glad to do that.
I think that had a lot to do with this too.
Yes, sir.
Oh Lord, my God, when I in awesome wonder consider how thy words and hands have made. I see the stars and I hear the mighty thunder. Thy power throughout the universe displayed. And then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. You can help us out if you want. How great thou art. Oh, how great thou art. And then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art. Oh, how great thou art.
God bless.
Danielle Lee Ware of Huntingburg took home the first runner-up honors in the showdown, and Jason McCoy of Lagodi took home second runner-up honors in the showdown. The has-beens will now compete at the Indiana State Fair for a $1,000 prize and the right to move on to the regional showdown this fall. 5 regional winners will receive an all-expense-paid trip to the national final and will compete for the national title and $100,000 grand prize. As a programming reminder, the WBDC Texaco Country Showdown can be seen in its entirety here on 18 WJTS on Thursday, June 20th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and again on Sunday, June 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, the Texaco Country Showdown will air on 18 WJTS on Thursday, June 20th at 7:30 Eastern Time, and again on Sunday, June 23rd at 6 Eastern Time. A Jasper man was taken into custody yesterday afternoon after a warrant was issued for his arrest on felony child molesting and solicitation charges. 19-year-old Austin Elliott was placed under arrest by deputies with the DuBois County Sheriff's Department during the noon hour yesterday on a DuBois Circuit Court warrant, charging him with a Class B felony count of child molesting and a Class D felony count of child solicitation. Authorities were contacted in mid-March by family members of a girl younger than 14 with whom Elliott had allegedly had sexual contact with earlier that month. The ensuing investigation, which included the assistance of the DuBois County Department of Child Services, culminated with yesterday's arrest in Jasper. Elliott was lodged in the DuBois County Security Center. Last night, the Jasper and DuBois County Contractual Library Boards adopted a new policy against staff having guns in library buildings while on duty. Library Director Rita Douthit explains that the idea for this policy was born out of a recent session with Indiana State Police Jasper Post Sergeant Chad Dick.
In our staff development day in May, we had State Trooper Chad Dick, who did a presentation on what to do in case of a shooter, an active shooter. And as afterwards the question came up about, well, the public can bring guns into the library, can staff? So we did a little bit of research and we learned that there is a part of the law that says employers can restrict their employees from having guns on site. So we discussed it at last month's meeting.
Douthit also says the new policy, while not allowing for guns inside of library buildings, does not cover guns left in one's vehicle.
If they have one in their car and their car's parked on library property, that's okay. They just cannot bring it into the library while they are working, while they are on work time.
Also last night, the Library Board approved the elimination of a part-time technology position on staff. Aaron Doyle, who was a full-time employee in the library's technology department, will now assume a full-time position as the technology manager for the library. Douthit says the part-time position being eliminated was an advisory position held by the library's former full-time technology manager, who accepted a job elsewhere but stayed on in an advisory role. Finally, last night, the Library Board approved a resolution of respect for former Jasper Library Board member Dr. Karen Gray, who passed away suddenly earlier this year after fighting various illnesses. Douthit says the resolution is something the board had wanted to do for some time to show how much the board respected and admired Dr. Gray for her work with the library. The resolution honoring Dr. Gray will also be placed into the permanent files of the library. Yesterday, the Huntingburg Board of Public Works approved the reclassification of several roads in the industrial area of Huntingburg to major collector status. These roads, located on the northwest side of Huntingburg, feed the industrial area of the city. Huntingburg Mayor Denny Spenner says the major collector status is crucial to be eligible for federal funding.
In order for us to be eligible for any kind of federal funding, should those roads need to be repaired, they need to have that major collector status. So our action today was to identify 5 roads that are in that status that we feel are indeed heavily traveled areas for our industrial traffic.
The roads approved by the board for reclassification are 12th and 14th Streets, 400 West, Phoenix Drive, and Skyline Drive. Mayor Spenner says the reclassification of these roads does not mean they need immediate attention for improvements, but rather for possible future construction needs. He says the next step is to wait for the Indiana Department of Transportation's approval for reclassification.
Should a project come forward that we could receive some federal funding to help improve that area, we'll have the proper classification. Our action now goes to INDOT for their approval, and we'll wait to see for that ratification from INDOT.
Spenner says there's no timetable on INDOT's approval of the roads. The next Board of Public Works and Safety meeting has been moved up to Wednesday, July 3rd instead of July 4th due to the holiday. Officials with the Indiana Department of Transportation say milling on US 231 between Jasper and Huntingburg might not start until after Independence Day. INDOT says crews from Goldman Asphalt and Construction of Clarksville are deep patching in places, which will take some time. INDOT says the patchwork will be followed by milling and repaving sometime after the 4th of July. The $2 million project includes a large, deep patch of the highway from Division Road to 12th Street in Jasper. As work progresses, activity could begin as early as 6 a.m. and continue until 9 p.m. daily, with weather permitting. The entire project is expected to be complete by November 1st. Today, Chocolate Bliss reopened in a new location on the southwest corner of the square in downtown Jasper. The new location will have 3 times the space of the old store, which was located on the northwest corner of the square, and will be known as Chocolate Bliss and Kitchen Essentials. The new store will feature confections and coffees, an ice cream counter, and kitchen and grilling supplies. There will also be additional seating on the new patio facing 5th Street to go along with seating available inside of the store. Chocolate Bliss owner Ann Recker, who has run the business for 7 years, says she tested the need for a kitchen store in the city of Jasper by stocking cookie cutters, grilling supplies, and cooking oils at the store's current location. She says the idea has been on her mind for quite some time. One product line being added to the new store is Clay in Motion, which will feature clay items that are lead-free and microwave and oven safe. Ice cream flavors being provided at the new location will include banana cream pie, strawberry cheesecake, Rocky Road, and vanilla bean. Fresh baked chocolate chip, sugar, and oatmeal cookies will also be available daily. The new Chocolate Bliss and Kitchen Essentials location will be open from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Mondays through Thursdays, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Fridays, and from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. For more information on this new location, you can visit their website at chocolateblissofjasper.com or call 482-1617. Finally, tonight we bring you a presentation courtesy of the Indiana Youth Institute. Tonight, Bill Stanzakavich talks about teen dating violence and ways that parents can help their teen should their teen be caught up in an abusive relationship.
A couple of data points jump out that really tell this story. Number one, 15% of Indiana's teenage girls report being raped by their date. That's higher than the national average. And overall, about 12% of Indiana teenagers report being in a physically dangerous teen dating relationship. These numbers should be cause for concern and help us stay alert. Beyond just this immediate concern are long-term consequences. A new study from Cornell University shows that kids who are in a violent dating relationship suffer consequences as adults. They're more likely to be depressed, more likely to get involved with alcohol and other substance abuse. They're even more likely to get re-involved in other dangerous, bad relationships as adults because that's all they know. That's what they consider to be normal. So there are bad consequences now that can last into adulthood. Parents need to be watching for the warning signs. Number one, obviously physical injury. Also, heavy mood swings, and just more than the normal despondency of the teen years, but a heaviness that could set in. More truancy and absenteeism from school, grades that plummet. And here's a warning sign that they're not hanging around with other friends anymore because the teen they're dating won't let them. These are some signs your kid might be in an abusive, violent teen dating relationship. As for the kids, if your date is arguing all the time, is overly controlling, is trying to force you to do things you don't want to, sexually or otherwise, trying to get you to be involved with alcohol and drugs, if they're cruel to animals and other kids, again, these are the kind of signs taken together that you're in a bad relationship and it's time to get out. As parents, we need to talk to our kids about this. We need to have open conversations with them so that our kids have somewhere to turn in case something goes wrong. We also need to model what a good relationship looks like in front of our kids so that they have high expectations from the teenagers who they date.
And the thing that stood out to me about that study was it's not only teen girls that suffer long-term effects, correct?
You know, it's interesting. When you think of teen dating violence, it's easy to think about, well, it's the boys who are abusing the girls, but it's both boys and girls reporting physical violence and other abusive behaviors towards them in dating relationships. So, you know, for your sons, you need to be watching this as well, that they could be victimized by somebody who they're in a dating relationship with.
Once again, our presentation tonight is courtesy of the Indiana Youth Institute. Coming up after the break, your local forecast, sports with Kurt Guxell, and Inform featuring Kevin Manley of BC Multisport. That's all up next here on 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.